Hello everyone, welcome to this new video. Today guys, I'll be talking about the final 1.1 version kit of Silverwolf. We finally received the full kit and the full multipliers and the full description of the Silverwolf's kit, and we can finally now compare her final version to the closed beta 3 version and determine if she got buffed or nerfed. Initially, the community's outrage right now basically on the fact that like Silverwolf might have gotten nerfed, and people are really mad because of that. In my opinion, after reading this like comparisons from what I'm going to show you 2 or 3 times, I feel like she actually got buffed, more than she got nerfed. And yeah, if you are not really interested in the in-depth about like how she changed technically, like in detail, and you just want a short summary, basically is she's still a very good character. She's still like a must pull if you have Zila. Uh, her support capabilities have been buffed, but her sub DPS capabilities have been nerfed. And her sub DPS capabilities from the closed beta version is kind of, instead of being in the skills, it's rather in the eidolons now. And that's up to you to decide. If you're the type of guy who wanted to build Silverwolf as DPS, you still could, but it's a bit harder. But she's more of a support, and fundamentally that's what she's supposed to be. And yeah, so let's start comparing. Without further ado, let's start comparing. Shout out to Yubacha and Honkai Star Rail Station, and especially shout out to Yubacha. They kind of compiled the closed beta version and the final version, like skill, talent, ultimate, basic attack, and traces, and all that side by side, so we can easily compare which one is better and which one's not. So let's start. First, her basic attack basically changed fundamentally in terms of the fact that in the closed beta version, while she deals a basic attack, she also has a chance of implanting a random bug. Instead, now in the final version, she cannot implant the random bug. Rather, that this secondary ability has been moved to the talent. And in my opinion, once we get to the talent, what happened to it now, I feel like it's much better than what it was supposed to be in the basic attack. Nothing really fundamentally different. Next up, her skill has been reworked. There's just two fundamental differences. You might think like this is more writings and there must be more things, but no, it's just a bit more explained, in the final version. There's two fundamental differences, like I said. The chance to add one weakness of the same type has been decreased from 3 turns to 2 turns, and basically now her skill deals more damage. And you might ask me how. What I'm saying is that in the closed beta version is that she first initially dealt damage and then she applies like certain debuffs, right? But now in the final version is that she'll apply these debuffs and then she'll deal the damage. So this means that her skill will deal more damage fundamentally. Next up, her ultimate has been reworked and changed. And this is where I was talking about her aspect of being a sub DPS got changed into a support. Her ultimate cost changed from 120 to 110. And this means this could be massive. This means that you might not want to run an energy regeneration rate link rope, but still recommended to. But regardless, like I said here, her DPS capabilities was existent here, as in she dealt damage and then she dealt extra damage based on the amount of debuffs applied on opponents. But here now she just reduces the enemy's defense by 45% and then she deals the damage. So yeah, two fundamental differences. Here, this ultimate, long story short, kind of benefited her own damage. And then here, she kind of like, her ultimate is similar to Pela's. The only difference is that she applies this reduced defense to a single target rather than an AoE. So yeah, she reduces the defense and then she deals the damage. That's another, basically means that her ultimate deals more damage now compared to her closed beta version. And then her talents has been, massively reworked as well. And this is basically these two pictures are like currently the two pictures that are used by everyone about being very mad about the fact that Silverwolf got nerfed. Yes, definitely. This definitely got nerfed, and this basically is a massive hit to Silverwolf's like ability, like her kit. But of course, like this was bound to change. Like no way, like Honkai Star Rail values the fact that you can reduce the attack by 20%, similarly to you reducing the defense. No way, of course. So I knew that this change was bound to happen, though I feel like the number decrease is a bit too harsh, but it is what it is. Like it's still kind of decent, right? From 20 to 10% for attack, reducing defense from 20 to 8, and reducing the speed from 20 to 6. Still a decent amount, still a bit harsh, still a bit low, but yeah, and now here we kind of make it up. When we talked about the basic attack, basically secondary, let's just say, ability got removed from it and rather put in the talent. Now we're putting in the talent. So basically here what we're talking about is that every time Silverwolf attacks, she has a 72% chance to implant 3 bug that lasts for 3 turns. And this is what I'm talking about, that this is a massive buff that everyone's kind of overlooking. When it's, from what I'm understanding, if my English is correct, right, if they worded it correctly, they're saying every time Silverwolf attacks. It didn't mention specifically that Silverwolf needs to attack as in a basic manner, or skill, or ultimate, or any type of manner to only apply the bug. So this means that if this is saying that Silverwolf attacks, so that means that if Silverwolf just uses her basic, or uses her skill, or uses her ultimate, she can apply these bugs. So this is massive. It went from only applying these bugs only if she, uh, you know, uses the basic attack to all types of attacks. And then the base chance also increased from 65% to 72%, and lasts for 3 turns similarly. And yeah, I feel like this is a massive buff to Silverwolf that everyone's kind of overlooking. Next up, her traces. Let's talk about her traces. Her Silverwolf's traces basically changed from such that from her basic attack, there was another additional chance to apply another bug, basically, and now it got reworked into basically the weakness implanted now lasts for 1 more turn. So with this new final version, we can come to the conclusion that the skill basically is the same now, right? It changed from 2 to 3 turns because of the traces, so that means it's very similar now. And now you might tell me, Harijan, like, okay, but what about the other bug? And this is what I'm talking about, the talent. Like I said previously, if what I'm understanding is correct, is that if Silverwolf attacks any type of attack, that means you could apply bugs. So that means that you could use it, hypothetically, you could use a skill, you could use an ultimate, and possibly implant 2 bugs. You know what I mean? So, does this really matter anymore? Additionally, adding random bugs? So it kind of like balances it out if you think about it. So yeah, next up, her trace has been reworked, right? Silverwolf, initially her skill guaranteed to implant a type weakness if she has 3 or more debuffs. Now it got reworked into basically decreasing the enemy's like quote-unquote resistance by 3%. So yeah, now you might tell me, Harajan, this is also a massive buff. But the thing is that we're talking about this skill like guaranteed to proc is heavily like situational. This will only be very effective once you're kind of like deep into the fight, once you finally applied all these debuffs and stuff. But if you are going to build your Silverwolf correctly, with enough effect hit rate, right, with the light cone that it's going to come with her event, which if you superimposition 5 for free, will give you 40% extra effect hit rate. And if you have a body piece that has effect hit rate, and then if you have substats that effect hit rate, and maybe also if you have the the two-piece set of the planner alt ornaments that also gives effect hit rate. Do you really need this guaranteed hit if your effect hit rate is quite high enough? I will take this increase in damage over the guaranteed, because personally my Silverwolf will have a lot of effect hit rate, so this trace would have been useless for me. So I'll take this damage increase. In my opinion, this is a buff. Next up, there's this one, antivirus. Initially, when she got attacked, there was a 50% base chance where she applies a bug. And now it got changed into basically the bug's duration extended for 1 turn, and every time an enemy is inflicted with the weakness break, Silverwolf has a 65% implanting around the bug in the enemy. Now this goes hand in hand with her skill, because if you apply a weakness and then you start breaking that weakness, you're going to apply this bug, right? 65% base chance. This is, in my opinion, better than the initial one, because Silverwolf, if you build the right team around her, right, she's a support character, so most of the time you're going to be running with a preservation or destruction character alongside her, and those guys will be attacked most likely. So that means that this trace might not be used as often as you think, and rather you take this because because of your skill that you're applying to an enemy, that then when you break it, you could apply a beautiful extra debug. And on top of that, the bug duration got increased from 1 turn, so it went from 3 to 4 turns. And that is insane. Again, the fact that you could stack these debugs, that means gives you a higher chance to get that coveted reduced defense by 6%. You will take that over a getting attacked thing. And now her traces. Similarly, like I said, her at crit damage got changed into attack percent, and her HP percentage got changed into quantum damage bonus. Now you might tell me, Bashir or Harijan, this is a nerf. And I'd say yes, okay, it's definitely a nerf in terms of the sub DPS Silverwolf, but 12% crit damage is 19% crit damage is no big deal, to be honest, because you can get that in a substat if you get lucky enough. You know, it's no big deal. Like the crit damage body piece could get you like a 60 something percent, like no problem. You know what I mean? And instead you replace it with quantum damage bonus, and I feel like this is a bit more valuable. Like elemental damage is stronger than crit damage or attack. And sure, the crit damage got replaced into attack, but could have been worse, right? Could have been worse, like into defense or something like that. Like for example, Zealey for some reason has a defense trace for some reason. So at least here in every single like trace for Silverwolf technically is like all useful for her. Effect hit rate, quantum damage bonus, and attack percent. You'll take that. And then similarly, her Eidolons have completely been reworked. Not going to delve into this too much because, you know, I'm personally not a whale. I'm not going to go for Eidolons, but some like certain notes you'd want to mention is that her closed beta version 1, closed beta test Eidolon 1 is basically basically became her final version's third trace. Like that's one cool thing, I guess. And I think I mentioned earlier in the video, basically in her like in the end, her Eidolons, their sub DPS got stripped from her and put into the Eidolons instead. Now I don't know how you'd feel about that, but I guess that's one positive. You know, they could have just taken away the sub DPS abilities and kind of like made it disappear, but instead, at least like though it's bad, at least they kind of put it in the Eidolons, so that if you ever like love Silverwolf so much and you just want to make her sub DPS, you could consider rolling into her Eidolons because that could give her more damage. Another thing as well is that in the E2, her basically when you enter the battle, the effect resistance decreases for 30% for 2 turns, but now it got changed into 20%, and as you can see here, there's no like for a certain amount of turns. So this means though the effect resistance is decreased, there is no turn limit, so this for the whole battle this could last, and this is massive. This is a massive DPS increase as well, like over time. You know, once you get deeper into the battle, you're gonna feel that 20% extra, you know, reduced effect resistance. So you will take that. You know what I mean? And yeah, overall, a great character. Um, like I said previously, I do not understand the outrage in terms of the nerfing to Silverwolf. Sure, she got nerfed to from her sub DPS capabilities, but fundamentally, what she's supposed to be is a sub DPS, and her support. Sorry, a support. She's fundamentally supposed to be a support, and the fact that she's a better support now basically makes her a better character overall, in my opinion. And yeah, thank you for watching this video, and I might possibly do a Luocha review similar to the Silverwolves sooner rather than later. And I hope you guys enjoy the video and have a good night.